started.
Nice. Yeah, but that's good, man. I mean, I'm excited about all that stuff because there's multiple ways that we can kind of build the brand. You know what I'm saying? Like just with all the different things we're doing, now we can kind of take this stuff to the next level, right? Rather than just kind of being right here. It's funny. I was talking to one of my friends last night over dinner. We had dinner at their house, and she was an interior designer. We were talking about, you know what? Just like live right where you're at right now. Just stay right here because it's comfortable, it's easy, it's simple, it's all figured out. I got no stress. Rather than like taking that next step forward, right? Hiring those next two people that come up in the business and really just kind of help it explode to the next level. And I think it's funny because like I think we're in that place right now with Prospect Dugout. It's like we've been at a certain level, right? You've been right here. It's time to really kind of take that jump and try and at least put a foot in there and just kind of let people know, I guess, at the ultimate level, like, hey, man, we're here to play. We're here to produce. We're here to help. And right now, man, I think we need that stuff more than ever because right now, just with everything that's happening in the world, man, like we need some leaders. We need people that, we need, groups of people to help. And for us, man, we want to be that group that can help,
Yeah, for sure. And just got to jump out there and,
exactly. Well,
that's where it comes, taking the risk. There's no reward without a risk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right about that, man. Because I mean, we can live at this spot and be successful and continue to keep doing what we're doing, or we can really go for it. And I think that's my style more than it is, and y'all's is too. I mean, that's the way we want to do it. We want to do something great. We want to do something big. We want to do something life-changing, especially now with the inability for people to come and watch players all over the country. This for us, man, we could create some sort of a database. And
I was just listening to the Gary Vee podcast on my way over to Vieira.
Dude, you were listening to Gary Vee again? No way.
Every day.
No way, bro.
Get out of here. He had a 16-year-old like soccer player or something called in, and she's like, how do I want to play D1. I'm really good in high school, but how do I get out there? He said social media. So he's in tune with that too. He said there's a lot of coaches on Twitter and things like that. So putting that content out there.
Yeah.
It's all about exposure. It's all about giving yourself an opportunity to be seen as opposed to sitting here twiddling your thumbs and like, why is nobody seeing me? Well, you're not putting yourself out there. Just like any business would market their product, you have to market yourself. You have to
totally. I mean, it's even like the other day when we were filming driveway drills over here, and my dad was talking to the boys, sitting around lunch when we took that break. And we were talking, and Mason was like, this is such a huge time for us right now. Those juniors going to become seniors because it's almost in a sense, it's like the senior, it's almost like it's not too late, but it is too late because they haven't had the exposure. They haven't had the ability to, film themselves in a cage, whether it's with an iPhone or an Android or a GoPro or whatever it is, to put it out there because now it's like all evaluators, not only Division I evaluators, we're talking about amateur scouts for professional teams. Like, come on, Craig, like everybody's putting people on numbers. Like once we get to the point where we can start to establish players and validate players and maybe in a sense be the blue check for players, then that's exactly what we want to do because we want to give them validity and also give them the ability to put their numbers up. Because I think it's just like, all of us, we're not like humongous individuals. So our overall size kind of like reaches a certain level. I think even for players like that may have been overlooked because their size or their overall physical build is not what coaches and scouts are looking for. I can put those numbers up and show you what my Rapsodo score is, right? What my what my blast motion score is, right? What my pitch logic score is. So I think moving forward to be able to give the players the ability to continue to do this and to promote themselves. I mean, come on, man. We are in a very self-promoting world right now. And through social media right now, this is the opportunity. So if young people don't understand how this is working, you're almost playing from behind at this point.
Right. Yeah. Build your brand around yourself. Cause we say it all the time here. Coaches and scouts have to like you. And if you can build a presence around your social media, not just all the sweet videos that you could post about you playing, but if you can incorporate your personality and who you are, because no scout puts his name on a kid to enter into the draft if he don't like him. Like, that's why you do home visits. That's why you talk to the teachers. That's why you talk to the coaches. That's why you talk to his friends. You investigate his social media because you want to see who you're putting your name on. And so if kids can embrace that and understand that, they could have a huge leg up if they start, zoning in their social media presence around, I'm building a brand for myself.
Yeah. Well, I think just with everything that's happening in the world, it's standing up and speaking and standing for the right things.
Yeah.
And putting that out there and letting people know who you are and what you stand for and who you are on the inside. For an evaluator, that kind of gives you a little glimpse on the character of an individual. And let's be honest, if you don't have character, if you don't have that inner view of yourself and how you want to be viewed as an individual, then that's tough because like you're saying, to not only put yourself out on tape and to be able to let everybody see what you can do, right? Athletically is one thing, but I think now more than ever, people are really looking on the inside of the human being and exactly what the thoughts are for them. So
they want to know who you are as a person.
They want to know who you are,
because they got to build their team around you. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Well, that's a good part to jump in and get started here on the 6th episode of Kicking It with your boy Swish.
6 already, bro?
6 already, man.
Afternoon edition.
Welcome to the first 1 p.m., 1:12 p.m. East Coast time edition of Kicking It with your boy Swish. I'm your host, Joel Hartman, at Hardy02 on Instagram. I got my boy Craig Maddox, my co-founder. What's up? And the star of the show himself, Nick Swisher. How
just
you doing,
one
buddy?
of the three, just one of the tripod. That's all.
That's it. Well, everybody that's watching live on YouTube and Facebook, I'm sorry if I'm a little echoey. I'm over in Vieira for USSSA tournament, 17U tournament at the Space Coast Stadium. So I'm in an Airbnb and it's a little whatever. We're gonna roll with it. So today's show, we got a couple guys lined up, amateur players. Got a cool little Baylor University commit. It's gonna be cool. We're just going to dive in. We're going to answer these questions. So if this is the first time that you've watched the show, Kicking It with your boy Swish, the concept is to have amateur players call in. And we got your boy Swish over here, 12-year MLB vet, won a World Series 2009. He's got the ring. He's got the experience. He's got the relationships. He's got all this insight. And we got amateur callers, amateur players that are calling in, diving in deep. How do I approach this? I'm going through a slump. How do I do this? How do I balance my school and my education? How do I get prepared? All kinds of questions. So let's just kind of jump right into it. I know before we get started though, is there anything, on your mind, Nick, that you want to talk about before we bring in our first caller?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm excited, man. I feel like, we didn't get the ability to do this last week and I missed it. I feel like this is our time to help and this is our time to shine. And for myself to be able to be part of the game of baseball for as long as I have, it's a blessing. So to be able to give any sort of knowledge or any insight into the game, as well as the motivational side. I mean, Craig, Joe, you know me, man, my ambitions to become a motivational speaker are real. And maybe you can feel my presence. Maybe you can feel my power and my passion for the game of baseball, and maybe just through life in general, because it's not always going to be easy. There's going to be some hard times that you're going to have to go through. And here at Prospect Dugout, we're here to get you to the next level. And that's exactly what we want to do. So maybe there's something that one of us three says, maybe in a different way that you've heard something before in your life. For us, we have fun. We love what we're doing. And this is just an honor for me to be able to talk to young players and to try and help them to progress their careers in any way possible.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So I've got Tristan Russell is joining right now. He is a 2023. He is a FSU commit. So we're going to get him on here. If he's
these dudes are committing early, bro. They ain't even messing around. They said, Florida State coming for me. I'm signing with you, baby. Let's go.
That's it. And that's a good school too, man. ACC. There he is. What's up, buddy?
There you go.
Tristan, what's going on, man?
Can you hear us? Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, click gallery view so you can see all of us that are talking.
I can't hear you guys.
All right. You'd think he'd be wearing that FSU hat, though, if he's an FSU commit.
No, he says keeping his options open. You never know. You never know.
Tristan, can you hear us, buddy? Can't hear us. I'm going to put him back in the waiting room, and I'm going to bring in
FSU,
Josh.
you're kind of – I don't know how much higher you can shoot, right?
Right.
I got a story, man. I got a story to tell you guys.
Okay.
So the other day, I think I told Joel this the other day, we were in the living room and we were getting ready to watch something on TV, me and my two daughters, right? Emmy, she's 7, and Saylor, she's 3, right? And so we're browsing through and we go to iTunes because we want to watch Doolittle, right? We're really big into Doolittle. We watch Dr. Doolittle, like all the different ones, right? And so as I'm rolling through there, I actually went to the television side and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all these television shows that we've bought throughout the years. And one of them was a highlight from 2014, like MLB's Great Games. And it was when I hit the walk-off grand slam. And I was so excited to watch it. It was like unbelievable. I'm like, bro, I haven't watched a highlight in so long. And make a long story short, I'm watching the highlight and I'm just like, man, this like takes me back. It makes me feel so good. And Emmy looks at me and goes, Dad, isn't your baseball career over? And I was like, yes. As a matter of fact, it is, champ. And this is why I'm reliving these, because once it's gone, it's gone. And I think that's for being able to be in a position like this. I think I finally come to grips that my career is over. And the part that I'm going to have to come to grips with that if I want to be part of this game moving forward, I got to be here to help. And I got to be here to mentor and do anything I can to try and help the next generation. Because right now, with everything we've seen happen with COVID and shutting down the seasons early this year, this is kind of a crazy draft year. So to be able to try and help these kids and to be able to get past this lull that has been in for the last, however long since the seasons were canceled, that's what we want to do. We want to keep that fire and passion going for the game because, come on, man, tomorrow's the MLB draft. I mean, I got stories for days on that stuff, man. What an amazing day. And there's so many kids out there whose lives are going to change. And this is just the right step in the right direction.
Right. For sure. And even for those guys, and to speak to those guys that maybe, tomorrow is, or the next day is a disappointing day. It's not the end of the road. Correct. It's just, it's one hurdle that you have to jump over to, fulfill your dream. I can speak to that, being a guy who went undrafted out of college and parlayed that and said, no, I'm not going to give in to an opinion of, a scout or an organization.
Yeah, or
I believe in my abilities, and it's a tougher road. There's no doubt about it, but you find out a lot about who you are as a person and what hurdles you're willing to overcome. So, for those guys that are listening out there that might have, a tough time tomorrow, just make sure that, if you get knocked down, you got to pick yourself up. Don't rely on anybody else to pick you up. Pick yourself up and explore those opportunities. And that's part of what we do here at Prospect Dugout. We want to be an information source to those guys that, are seeking to continue their careers. That's why we work with the Atlantic League to provide those opportunities for guys.
So it looks like we're having some technical difficulties.
Don't worry about it,
video
Joe.
started.
Greg got this.
That's it, man. No, so you guys are talking about the draft. So why don't you talk a little bit about that draft? Oh no, here we go. Cody, what's up, buddy? Can you hear us, Cody? We don't have any sound for him.
He got his earplugs in. He can hear.
He's got his earplugs, but I don't see his microphone. So,
real quick, while you're trying to get him in, Craig, I'm going to piggyback on you for a second, man. And I know that yours was in that situation where you went through college and never got drafted. For myself, that happened to me in high school. And that was the biggest bummer ever. So it's almost like, Joe, we were talking about almost kind of losing a little bit early in your life so that you understand exactly what that feels like. And for myself, I think I went through that exactly when you went through it in college, Craig. It's just kind of like you feel like the world's over, like you don't know what to do. And for myself, I think that was the first loss I took in my life, if you're looking at the grand scheme of it. And I was almost, in a sense, I was happy that happened. Not at the time, because I was devastated and locked myself in my room for 2 weeks and didn't want to talk to anybody because I was so devastated. It was like that was the time. That was my chance. And it didn't happen. And like you're saying, Craig, like when you get knocked down, like what are you going to do? Because there's not going to, other than your family and your close inner circle, the game is going to continue to keep moving. There's going to be nobody that's going to help pick you up other than yourself and your tight-knit crew, right? So I think for myself, I was just kind of like, wow, man, like that I could take the worst thing that happened in my life and turn it into the best thing in my life. And I never forgot that draft day. And so for myself to be able to be here and to be able to be fortunate enough and lucky enough and blessed enough to have taken that loss in college and turned it into such a positive to become a first rounder out of college.
Yeah.
Like that's something that like you'll never be able to take away from me, because in my mind, I didn't think in my mind that people thought I was any good. And that cuts to the core, especially if you're a competitor. Mm-hmm. And for myself to be able to have had all the privileges in life and to be able to start my life on the upper hand and to get the ability to go out and play the game that I loved, I just wanted to go about it and do it right every day. And I think that you stay consistent with something and you stay consistent to the process of what you're doing. Doesn't matter about being the best player on your team at 12. Take those losses early in your life, because I can promise you they will end up working for you. Because like we talked about yesterday, Joel, it's like, you know what that feels like. You know what a loss is, and you know how bad it hurts. And you never want to let that happen to yourself again. So for myself to be able to take one of the worst moments in my life coming out of my senior year in 1999 to all of a sudden turning the tables come June of 2002, it was just life altering for me. And I think at that moment right there, it was almost like, okay, I know I got this. I can do this. I can overcome adversity and I can be the best that I can be, because I can't be anybody else. Mm-hmm. I can't be you, Craig. I can't be you, Joel. Like, I can't do that. I have to be Nick. And so each and every day of my life, I just try to be the best Nick I can be. And you're going to take some L's. There's no doubt about it. But being able to understand what a loss is, it's not as daunting when you can talk about it. And it's not as daunting when you've gone through it already. Because in life, adversities are a huge part, I think, of who you are. And so I think to be able to take those adversities and fight back and to stand up for what you believe in and show that passion, it's just an awesome time, man.
Well, speaking of fighting through adversity, we got Cody back. Cody, you
he's back.
Some
he's
audio
back.
And some sound.
Yes, sir. What's up?
How you doing, Cody? What's going on, brother?
I'm doing good. A little glitchy, so I'm gonna have to talk when I can. But no, I'm excited to be here. This is awesome opportunity to talk to a big man.
Well, we appreciate you calling in, bro. There ain't no doubt about that. I mean, we love this show. To be able for us to be able to come and talk to young players like you, bro, is awesome. So what kind of question you got for me?
Well, my first question is, how is it playing out to the school series out here? Because that seems like an absolute amazing time. And all the guys around you were Hall of Famers and not. It was just a lineup. And I'd love to know how that fell out. You came up to late. How you did start out. That would have been a crazy experience.
I think we have to give him back a little bit because I couldn't understand a word that he said.
I was just sitting there. I was like, bro, I'm with him for the first couple seconds, and then I lost it.
Yeah, Cody, we're gonna have to see if you can get a better internet connection. So we can't hear what you're saying.
But I think at the end of the day, he's talking about the same things that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Just going from one, adversity to the next, and trying to take that adversity, take that loss, take it to heart, really feel that, and then move on and learn from that. Because you're never going to learn anything from the good times in life. If things are always good for you and you're feeling good and you're going 4 for 4 all the time, what are you going to learn, right? It's like life is easy, bro. It's just like being the best player all the way up through, and then all of a sudden, you hit a little struggle in AA, or you hit a little struggle in independent baseball, you hit it, in rookie ball, whatever it is. Like, there's going to be a time in your life where you're going to hit that wall and you're going to hit that struggle bus, and it's how you're going to be able to fight through that. It's going to make who you are, I think.
For sure. Tristan, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you guys.
There you go. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Mr. Russell? I see you in the bag, bro. What's up? Well, how you doing, Tristan, bro? We appreciate you calling in, my man. How you holding up?
Sir, I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Oh, man, we're doing great, man. We're so happy you called in, my man. What question you got for me today?
All right, so my first question was, what do you guys think about baseball players overhead lifting and bench pressing?
Okay, well, I can talk about that because back in the day, bro, that's all we used to do. We were just like bench press guys, like try and lift as heavy as weights as you can. Obviously, I think now we know a lot about, the way the body moves and kinesiology and overall nutrition and everything we know now is that, that might not be the best thing for us to do. But I also think it's different because I also think lifting is an overall individual thing, right? I mean, like I can lift as many weights as I want to, and I'm never going to look like Giancarlo Stanton. I'm just never going to look like that. That's just not my makeup. So I think this one thing that we talk about all the time is being able to be an individual, being able to be yourself, train your way. Because at the end of the day, if bench press strengthens muscles on your body that don't strengthen muscles on my body, that may end up helping you in the future, right? I'm not a personal trainer, so I'm not the one to say exactly what you need to be doing. But at the end of the day, there's so much information out there. Try different things. For myself, I tried everything from yoga to I did a country boy workout one off season, and that was nothing than chopping trees down, digging ditches, and pushing trucks around. Because I thought that if I could just do manual labor, that would strengthen the muscles that I never had before. And I mean, maybe, but I came back and hit like 35 the next year. So I think just for myself, it's all about just figuring out what works for you because you are an individual and you are special. And the way you do things is different than everybody else. So what I would challenge you to do is if you're asking questions, you're doing the right thing. Look, research, read books, ask different people, talk to different trainers. Because at the end of the day, I think it would be a crazy thing for an individual to say, there's only one way to do it. There's only one way to work out and bench press, because when I first came up, that was what we were doing. And then all of a sudden they moved to dumbbells. And now I think for myself, if I was doing things all over again, I would try and maybe go for a little less strength and a little more flexibility. Because I was listening to a podcast with Lorenzen from the Mets or from the Reds, and he was actually on Trevor Bauer's podcast. And they were talking about the road to 110 miles an hour. And I think that at some point in time, my man, it could be you, Tristan. You might be the guy throwing 110 miles an hour. And at the end of the day, people are going to ask you, how did you train? What did you do? And you can only go from your personal experience and what worked from you, because at the end of the day, people are looking for the successful people to follow.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. What else you got? You got anything else, bro?
I got another question.
We're ready.
So, my other question, speaking of the 110 miles per hour, was I see a lot of guys doing these throwing programs where they're just constantly throwing and throwing and throwing. And I wanted to know if that's something you would recommend or if that's something that's maybe risky down the line.
Yeah, I think I can only answer that question from a position player standpoint. And for myself, I tried to throw every day because I wanted to be able to play every day. And I think the things now are a little different. I think with analytics and exactly how things all play out, we're noticing that if you can take a little bit of a rest during the big league season, that you actually perform better. So I think that's also another individual thing. I think now with Driveline and with everything we had from Rapsodo to Pitch Logic to Edgetronics, all that stuff, I think that being able to throw every day might be a good thing. I think that what about major league relief pitchers? I mean, these guys throw an awful lot. They play catch every single day because they want to make sure that their arms are ready to go. I think you either have the gift to either have a rubber arm or you don't. I'm not quite sure that's something that can be taught. But if you look at the older style players, like the Nolan Ryans of the world and guys like that, those dudes believe that you could throw every day and be able to be healthy. So I think that if, like you're saying, I would challenge you to read and invest and to research all this stuff, because at the end of the day, there's not one way to do it. There could be the Tristan way. And there may be some sort of funky motion that you do in a workout that strengthens your arm to get you there. So I think for yourself, don't box yourself in. Don't think of only one way of doing it. Look out there, use the resources, use the people in your life to ask the questions, because when you're doing those, you're already on the right path, my man. You're trying to learn. And I think for young players, it's an awesome thing to do, bro. Thank you so much for calling in, my man. We appreciate you, bro. Take it easy, my man. Hey, have you guys started your season back up yet?
We actually have our first tournament games coming up this Thursday.
Oh, bro, how excited are you? How excited are you?
I'm very excited.
Oh, man, just to be back around the guys, be back around the game. Oh, man, I'm so jealous, bro. Hey, man, I wish you the best of luck, my man. If you need anything, bro, us at Prospect Dugout, we're here for you, okay?
All right, thank you.
Hey,
guys.
Tristan, before you go, hold on, Tristan, before you go, I want to give you a little bit, because I've dealt with, my son is a pitcher and he's a junior in high school. So I've been around that pitching game. So I want to give you a different perspective. Like, you have to, like, if you're doing it for pitching, then you have to pay attention to how you feel after a game. How long did you throw in the game? What was the intensity level? What was there a lot of high pitch count batters? Was there a lot of low pitch count batters and you just went long in the game? Was it a lot of base runners? Was it no base runners? So there was not a lot of pressure. You have to take that into account and then figure out how you feel afterwards. And then if you felt great during that game, you need to try to, this is something we talked about a few episodes ago, was routines and things like that. You need to have a plan in place so that way you can get back to where you felt good without thinking about it. Yeah, you cannot sit here and try to think about getting yourself ready to play. You have to go through the motions that get you to where you feel good. And then from there, learn how to, okay, I was sore after that. Well, what did I throw the week before? I threw 3 out of the 7 days. Well, I need to throw probably a little bit more, because you have to think of it in terms of working out. If you only work out 2 times a week, you're not going to gain any strength. You're going to be sore all the time because you're never pushing your muscles through a consistent motion. So if you're throwing more often, I'm not telling you to throw every day, but I'm also not telling you to throw less than every day. I want you to go, like Nick said, go online and do some research. Look up Dr. Heenan, look up Driveline, look up all these different things that are talking about pitching. I mean, reach out to some major league pitchers on Instagram. Like, that's how Nick Swisher and I connect. That's how Nick Swisher and us connected, was through Instagram DM. I've connected with so many people through Instagram DM that you can get your questions. Like, you're on the show through Instagram DM. You're not on it any other reason. So, like, use those resources that you have. Google, Instagram DMs, YouTube, go on there and find those things so it can give you an educated understanding, not just Nick's not going to give you an answer. Trevor Bauer's not going to give you an answer. Or Aldis Chapman's not going to give you an answer. You're going to find the answer that makes the most sense based on your body type and how you recover and how you feel.
Okay. That's true, bro. It is crazy, man. There's so many guys out there, bro, that want to help. And there's so many guys out there that will be honored to somehow give you a 3 or 4 sentence answer of exactly what worked for them. I think that's now, as players, I mean, that's our job more than ever right now, is to give back and to help, and to be able to help in any way we can. And so any questions you have, don't be scared to reach out to people, man. Utilize those. You got it.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Right, appreciate it.
Take it easy, baby. Tell your dad we said peace, bro.
See you guys.
See you.
See, that's it, bro. You know what I'm saying? And you know what else makes that great? How different the information was coming from myself compared to you, right? Because coming from someone that has a son who's actually going through that stuff right now, it's fresh, it's happening, right? For myself, it was like, 3 years ago when, but for myself as a position player, bro, like, I threw every day because it had to go every day, because that's what I wanted to do. My goal was always to play 162 games. I never did it. I think I hit 160 a few times. But for myself, man, I wanted to play every day. So as a position player, I think, it's like I say all the time, man, you can't make the club in the tub, right? You have to
can't be injured
to get yourself on the field, because if you can't get on the field, you can't show people what you have the ability to do.
For sure. All right, before we get to our next caller, I want to do a little rapid fire session with you, Nick. Just a couple questions.
These are my favorite, bro.
All right, quick one. Favorite NFL player of all time?
Oh, Barry Sanders. Easy, bro. He's nasty.
Nasty. All right. Tell us, okay, obviously you like to golf, okay?
Right.
I want to hear your best golf shot ever.
Oh, man. Par 3, 17, Avila Country Club in Tampa, Florida, right? I came like 2 inches from my first ever hole-in-one, man. So for myself, man, I've been inching close. I'm really starting to get better. I think I've, through, COVID and shutting things down, I think I got my handicap in single digits. So I'm going to start reaching out to these pro-ams, bro, and try and get myself in there, because for myself, I always felt like I played better when I played with better people. Yeah. Because I could watch them. I could learn from them. And that's how I did as a kid. I always watched the best players and to try and do it how I felt like they would do it. So for myself, man, that was my best shot. Not quite, I'm not the guy that bombs at 350, bro. Mm-hmm. I'm a more soft, smooth guy, bro. Line drives up the middle. Because then I can play every day, right? Mm-hmm. If you go out there and you're hacking, hey, man, I'm almost 40, bro. My back's going to be sore, bro. My love handles hurt, all that stuff,
You're going to be spending a lot of money on golf balls, too. Hey, one more question. One more. What is the craziest baseball play that you've been involved in?
Probably one of the coolest things I've ever been involved with is when I was in right field in Yankee Stadium, and I think we were playing the Cleveland Indians, and I was able to make all 3 outs in right field. And it was almost like just like a build-up, you know what I'm saying, for the last out. And everybody knew that I wanted to catch it. And I ended up making that down the right field line, made the catch, bro. I think that was probably one of my favorite things, man. That was great, bro, because it was just, you know, I mean, I know it's happened like 100,000 times, but like for me, it never ever happened to me before. And to be able to do it at Yankee Stadium, bro, was awesome.
Cody, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Oh, much
let's
better.
go,
We got some audio
Cody's
from
back.
There
you.
we go.
Let's do it. How's it going, buddy? So you're a Baylor commit, huh?
Sir, I am mid.
Heck yeah.
Oh, bro, that's amazing, man. What
Yeah,
what made Baylor the place to be?
Baylor, so I went up to one of those little showcase camps, and I got off my friend, I told Coach Rodriguez, holy crap, this is awesome. And next day they're like, hey, we want to offer you. I'm like, oh my God, this is
Yeah, right.
come true.
Where is it?
As
I'll
soon as I
sign it
walk
right
up
now. I'll
there,
sign it right
as
now.
soon- Yeah, I know. And then just even like walking on the campus, you saw the football stadium and you saw the school, and it was like, wow, it feels like just awesome atmosphere. And then going up there during on my recruit, it was nothing beats this. What else do you want?
Exactly, man. Well, we're so happy you called in,
awesome
man.
to have it.
Congratulations on your commit to Baylor, bro. Like, we're so stoked to watch you and see how you're going to continue your success. What question you got for us today?
Well, hopefully you'll hear this time. What is playing World Series athlete and then no do down to Hall of Famer he live pretty much their use on them and full fit high and awesome play.
Cody, we can't really hear you, buddy, but I think what he's trying to say, what was it like playing with some of those Hall of Famers in the 2009 season?
That's what I got. That's what I got from him, man. For myself, I feel like I was so blessed because I was able to learn from the best. And for myself to be able to play with the greatest closer of all time in Mariano Rivera, I learned from him. I learned how he was a professional. I learned how he went about his business every day. And at that point, it wasn't the quantity of work that Mo was doing. It was the quality of work that he was doing. And I think for him, he knew exactly how to prepare himself and get himself ready to compete in the ninth inning. Because there for the longest time, I mean, I don't know how many, 8, 9 inning, 2 inning saves he's had in his career, because he was just one of those guys that just continued to keep working. And however he ended up gripping that cutter, bro, whether it was a 4-seam grip or he slid it over to the 2-seam grip, it was amazing. But to be able to watch somebody like that and to be able to see it up close and personal and to learn from those guys was amazing. Because you look at Derek Jeter and everything that he's done on the field and everything that he's doing for the game of baseball right now, being, one of the owners of the Miami Marlins. And that is amazing, man. Like, we need to continue to keep great baseball people in the game if we want to continue to keep it growing the way that we want it to, right? So I think just in general, man, even with A-Rod, I mean, I think he's almost lined up to buy the Mets these days. Mm-hmm. So just to kind of see what, a lot of my teammates that are doing right now, I could not be more proud of those guys, because I think at the end of the day, like, we all want to give back. We all want to continue to keep the game of baseball in our lives somehow. And if that's the case, you have to find your niche. You have to find where you slot in. And for myself to be able to work with young amateur players, that's right up my alley, man. Like, that's an honor for me, because I think that if you can teach people something early in their life that they may not know about, it may get them to the point where they can do something that they never thought was possible. And for myself, man, that was the blue collar mentality I took. There was nothing that anybody was going to be able to say or do to stop me from reaching my goals. Mm-hmm. And like we say, we always talk about it here at Prospect Dugout. That's what we want to do. We want to get you to the next level. We want to give you the ability to promote yourself to get you to the next level. And right now, with no scouting in the collegiate game right now until August 1st, with the MLB draft tomorrow, like, there's a lot of things that we could have been doing and that we should be doing. So I think right now, if you want to stay ahead of the curve and you want to put yourself in a good position, utilize this. Utilize the ability to promote yourself, get yourself out there, let people see you, because sometimes you have to put yourself out there a little bit to be able to do something special. Because there's too much technology at our fingertips not to be able to utilize all this stuff. And even for myself looking back, that wasn't the era I grew up in. But right now, you can guarantee you, bro, I'd be working on my rap soto score, my blast motion, bro. You'd be seeing all my numbers, you know, just because I would want to show you that. I would want to see where I slotted up with everybody else in the country and in the world. And with the technology that baseball has now, this gives you the ability to do something like that. So
that's it. Cody, do you have real audio this time?
Oh, good Lord, I
Oh
hope
my
so.
gosh, look at
Holy
you.
cow.
Look at this
stop.
guy.
Y'all can
Third time's
actually,
a charm, kid. Let's
it's
go.
just crazy. Y'all are making fun of me now. I get it. It's fine, whatever.
Oh man.
No, I am sorry. I was on my computer and he was like, "Get on your phone." I was like, "Well, that's genius." So I think I'm good now.
Data, baby. What's going on, buddy?
One more time, bro. We heard something about Mariano and Jeter. I think I heard something like that.
Did y'all hear all the Baylor spiel?
No.
'Cause I don't know.
Yeah, we heard the Baylor stuff.
Oh yeah, we heard Baylor.
Yeah, we heard the Baylor
All
stuff.
right, that's good. All right. I was just all right. So maybe I can actually ask questions. I don't know.
Let's do it. We're ready for
you,
it.
see.
Okay, so you played in the 09 World Series. Yes, absolutely. That is the craziest thing. That's awesome. I just want to know how it was to be around all those Hall of Famers and how it was going into your approach and how you got up there, swung it, and knew you were going to be okay and not just because I don't know, I would just spaz out because that would just be a crazy atmosphere to be in.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. I mean, like, I think that's exactly what I did, bro. Like, I spazzed out. Like, I'm playing in the World Series. I mean, like, I'd never been there before. So for myself, I mean, like, the World Series in 09 was an emotional roller coaster for myself. For us to start off game one in Yankee Stadium and get dominated by Cliff Lee, like, that just wasn't supposed to happen. And then game two, I got benched. I wasn't performing. I wasn't playing well. And so I either had the ability to do one of two things at that moment, right? Be out there on the top step and be the best teammate I could, or sit myself down in the in the video room and try and isolate yourself. That wasn't the guy I wanted to be. I wanted to get myself ready. I wanted to try and do everything I could to try and relax, to get myself ready. And then for game three was my best playoff game, right? Double homer in Philly, right? Able to win that game. And I think for us that, being able to win 2 games in Philly kind of gave us that 3-2 lead, and coming home, man, with 2 games, only had to win 1 in Yankee Stadium. That was almost a guarantee. So I think for me to be able to have the ability to have gone through that and experienced what winning a World Series is at the highest level was an amazing thing. But I think also to experience what it feels like to be benched in the World Series and to see your name on the back page of the Post in not exactly the greatest of lights. I'm also blessed to have had that happen to me too, because I learned from that experience. Life isn't always going to be great. You're not always going to be given 3-1 fastballs. People are going to give you a wrinkle, right? They're going to do things that you may not expect. And so for myself, I was so happy that I got to experience all of that, because now I can give you the entire realm of what a World Series feels like, because there are some wins and there are some losses. And that's what we were talking about early in the show, that in life, man, you're not always going to be winning all the time. You're going to take some losses. And maybe you can take some losses at an early age so you can learn exactly what that feels like. And for myself to be able to take that L game 2, I mean, our team ended up winning, which was amazing. And that was probably why they got me out of the lineup, bro. They got my 0-4 out of the lineup that night. But I think for myself to be able to have gone through all of that and experience every single bit of what I feel the World Series entails, and then to end up that last ground ball and that booming sound that just Yankee Stadium did. And literally, if there was a roof on that building, it would have literally been blown off, because the excitement and the love and the passion and the overall Yankee tradition just shined through that night. So to be able to experience all that, my man, was a blessing and something I don't take for granted, because, we won that in 09 and we thought we had the squad to do it again. And it's been since 2009, the Yankees have won a World Series. I mean, we're coming on 11 years now. So it just goes to show you how special things really are. And like we always say, man, if you get a group of individuals, regardless of who you are, moving in the right direction, that's a powerful thing. And I think that's what championships are all about in the team setting, is you did it with people from all over the world. And for myself to be able to share that with my teammates is something that people can never take away from me.
No, that's so cool. I'm jealous of you. Come on, that would be
Hey, don't be
just a
jealous
crazy
of me,
experience.
dog. Be better than me, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, be you. Go out and get your chip. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes,
be what
sir.
you want to be, right? Like, take moments like these and bottle them up. And in the dark days when you need to put in a little more work, you're able to reach down in there because you know what you want to accomplish, right? Don't live your life on a plateau. Always like this, my man. Always working uphill, bro. Because I'm telling you, my man, for myself to be able to experience all the great things that the game of baseball gave me. I mean, it gave me my home. It gave me my car. It introduced me to my wife. Come on, bro. I'm married 10 years this year, bro. Like, baseball gave me everything that I have. So for myself to be able to give back and to share these experiences with people like you, bro, like, it's an honor to be able to be here on the phone with you, bro, for sure.
No, it's my honor. What do you mean? I'm talking to a 09 World Series champion.
Decent, bro. Decent at best. You know what I'm saying?
Decent. You went yard in the World Series, big man.
Yeah,
Come
man.
on.
Well, it was great because at the end of the day, like, that's what I want from you, right? I want you to be able to have that ability. I want to be talking to you here in the next 5-6 years, and you come back on kicking it with your boy Swish, and we still rocking, and we still changing people's lives, and we still standing up for what's right. And you come on and you tell us your stories. That's what it's about, right? For us to give you the knowledge and for you to get to where you want to be, and then for you to share your knowledge. And that's what
Yes,
it is,
sir.
man. It's always a circle, bro. So for myself, man, I'm doing my job. Now it's time for you to go do your job.
Absolutely.
All right, Cody. Hey,
What's
Joel,
next?
Craig, you got anything to say to my man Cody, bro? Like, this dude's got the best personality we've ever had so far,
Yeah,
dog.
dude, about time we
He's
got him
killing it,
on.
bro. He's laughing and stuff, bro. Baylor, boy, y'all are lucky for this kid, man, for real.
That's it. They're gonna like. What else you got, man? What other questions you got?
Another question is, I mean, there's every throwing program out there that you can think of, and I'm trying to hop on one of those, and then after that, it's always, what are your numbers? And at what point are your numbers better than a 6'4", 220 kid who throws 93, or are you going to get a 5'8", 170 kid that throws 96? Where is the line that you say, okay, I'm going to take this kid who has a little less over another kid who has a little more right now, but doesn't show the ability to get better? It looks like he's just maxed out. So I guess what I'm asking is, at what point do you take the small kid that throws harder than the big kid who looks like he can throw 104?
Yeah, well, I think the hardest thing that, especially, and you guys, and Joel, you can do this because your kid's going through this right now. But I also think Craig can jump in here just as evaluators and judging talent. And don't get me wrong, this 6'4", 220-pound kid is going to get the first look because he's 6'4", 220, bro. Like, that's just, you can't teach that size. But for myself, I was never that guy. I was the 5'10", 190, you know what I'm saying? Like, just that average dude that just showed up, but balled out, right? So for myself, I always kind of played with a little chip on my shoulder because just because that kid looks the way he doesn't mean he is the way he is. You know what I'm saying? So I think just in general, don't ever look at it in that sense, right? Don't ever look at somebody and judge upon who they are, what they stand for, because you never know. I think we're even learning that in life right now. Just being who you are and standing up and doing the right things is what you want to do. And I think for you right now, don't worry about that other stuff. Control the things that you can control. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. You do the right things. You stand up for the right things. You be you. You grind out. You leave everything out on the field. Control the things you can control. Because if you pay attention to all those other things and you do so much outward looking, you're never going to learn anything about yourself. Because you need to start looking on the inside and what things can I do better that can make me stand up and make me stand out rather than my physical size. Because I'm the first person that stands out to me in my mind is Dustin Pedroia. If that kid walked in, he walked into a bar, you'd be like, hey, who's
this scrawny guy?
Who's that little dude right there? Who's that guy? You know? But at the end of the day, guess what he's got? He's got an MVP. I don't. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, use that, use your overall vision of yourself to control the things you can control. Because I can promise you, if you start to focus all your energy on the process and things you can control, you're going to see growth for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Joel.
I think of it this way. Like, what's your size, Cody?
6'4", 220.
Yeah,
Save
I
it, bro.
wish. No, I wish. No, I'm like 6 foot, and I've really been working on. I was probably 180 for about a year, but right now I'm probably about 190. All this quarantine time, I've got a little gym in my garage, so that's all I've been working on. That and some protein shakes to get big.
Okay, so you're an average size. You're a little bit bigger than I am, to be honest. So you're probably a little bit bigger than Nick is, to be honest. So here's the thing.
I don't know about that, bro. I'm not quite sure, bro.
No, but think of it this way, okay? You're 6'4", you're 6'4", 220. Obviously, everybody thinks you can play. The scouts are like, oh, this dude's 6'4", 220. Let's go see him hit. And he looks foolish at the plate. Well, guess what? He's just dug himself in a hole because he's got the look, but then their first look at him, he doesn't have it to back up. What I'm trying to say is that 6'4", 220 is going to get that attention quick. They're going to find that guy first because he sticks out like a sore thumb, right? He's taller than everybody. People are looking at everybody is like, oh, did you see that tall guy, right? The guy that's 5'8", 5'9", 185 pounds, throwing 90, no one's going to know about him, right? He's 5'9", throwing 90 miles an hour, 7, 8 strikeouts a game, 1 walk, no walks, giving up 1 run a game, going 6, 7 innings. That's the kid that you're not going to notice him unless you're there. You just happen to be there and be like, wait a second. I was coming to watch this team play, and they just got shut down by this kid I've never heard of. And that's exactly what happened to my son. He's 5'9", 180 pounds, throws 90, and nobody really knew about him. But then he started dominating 5-star and this team, Canes National, this and that. And then all of a sudden, the right coach was there, and then all of a sudden, he's at the next tournament. And what does my son do? He goes out and does what he's supposed to do and pitches. So don't get caught up in the size, man. Don't get caught up in the fancy cars and the watch and the jewelry and say, oh, I want to have that. You got to realize that they didn't just acquire it. They started somewhere and built. So you got to think of it the same way. I'm not 6'4", 225. I'm not 5'9", 180. I am who I am. I've got to maximize my skills. Do I have a good arm? Okay. I need to refine that, make it as accurate as possible. Am I fast? Okay. I'm not fast, but I need to be a good base runner, because just because you're not fast doesn't mean you can't be a good base runner. Albert Pujols, a lot of people say he's a great base runner. You know how slow he is. It takes him 20 minutes to get to first base. You could be playing in the left field and get thrown out on a ground ball, but he's a good base runner because he makes, the cuts or whatever. So what I'm trying to say is, if you look at the size, yeah, you're gonna get that initial look, but then you really have to back it up. You got a lot of work. If you mess up, there's a lot going against you. If you do well, then you should be doing well. If you're 5'9", 180 and you don't do well, you shouldn't be doing well because you're 5'9", 180. But when you do well, that's when you start to get noticed.
He said do.
Craig, you want to jump in on the analytics side or anything like that?
Yeah, no, I just
Craig, tell Cody what your role is with the Giants.
So I'm a minor league hitting coach, working the Latin American operations with the San Francisco Giants. So, the biggest thing, man, just to echo what Nick said, like this game will be past you before you know it. I think you can ask Nick in his career, in my career. I feel like it was yesterday when I first signed my first professional contract. Like, it will go by so quick. So if you don't spend the time focusing on you, and you're worried about somebody else and try to catch up to somebody else, like you're 6 foot, like you might never be 6'5". So don't pay attention to those guys. Like, you just got to be the best version of you. And that's going to resonate so much better. And it's going to take you as far as you want to go in life if you just focus on making yourself better. So yeah, you're not 6'5", so you might not be able to do certain things that 6'5" guys can do, but 6'5" guys can't do certain things you can do.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
So, where you got to figure out your leverage. So instead of trying to hit the ball 500 feet like a guy who's 6'5" could do, like, I'm going to figure out how to hit the most doubles in the country, because, that's going to help me. Slugging percentage is up, batting average is up, run scores is up. I'm helping the team.
Yes.
And a college coach might say, I don't build my team.
Dude. As a matter of fact, Baylor says, I want that dude.
I don't build my team around the home run. Mm-hmm. Baylor might say, you know what? Like, the long ball We can't live and die on the long ball. I need a dude that's going to get on base. And you're going to be that dude because you're not chasing trying to be somebody else. You're being Cody. You're being who you are. So embrace that, man. I think Nick hit it right on the head. Like, you just got to be you, man.
Yeah,
That's
Cody,
it.
Cody, I want to leave you with one more thing right here, and I want to challenge yourself to learn yourself. Know who you are. Because if you know who yourself is, if you know who you are, then you know your value. And then if you know your value, then you know your worth, right? And then if you know your worth, then we can start to plan our attack on exactly how we're going to get to where we want to be. But I think some of the biggest things that young kids don't understand is their worth and their value. So for me, I would leave you with this and challenge yourself to look inside at who you are. Stop looking at the outfield fence. Worry about who you are. Worry about what's in this world right here, because I can promise you, if you're more consistent in your ability and you know who you are, in the tough times, my man, it's easy because you know who you are and you can stand up on both 2 feet, strong-footed, and being yourself. And that's Cody. And that's all we want you to be.
Yes, sir, for sure. No, thank y'all. That's great advice. And as much as I would love to be a position player, I'm really not. I'm more of a Poe. But I mean, I might hit senior year, so that'll be fun.
Hey, bro, you might as well do it all,
Hey,
bro.
you never
2-way,
know.
y'all. Let's get it.
You never know.
Thanks
All
for
right,
calling
and
in.
then-
What's your
hold on,
velo?
wait.
What's your velo up to, Cody? You ain't got to go nowhere. Don't feel pressure to get out of here, bro. Just hang out, bro. We ain't kicking you out.
Sure. No, I've been up to 93, and then I've been up to 95 on a run and gun.
Okay. So what are your secondary
these dudes
pitches?
throwing pellets nowadays. That's why these young kids, bro, barrel control, barrel accuracy, bro. Because these
That's it.
dudes are throwing gasoline these days, dude.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
the other thing to think of too when you're throwing gas, and then Nick, I think we were just talking about this at your house the other day, was, you know, maybe it wasn't, I don't know, but you know what it was? I'm actually thinking it was Lorenzen. I watched that video that you were talking about with him on Trevor Bauer. He was talking about, yeah, of course I always want to try to throw harder. Why would I not want to try to throw as hard as I can? Because it's just going to make my slider better. It's going to make my curveball better. It's going to make my changeup better, right? So I think a lot of kids get caught up in trying to throw 95, and then where's their curveball? It doesn't exist. Where's their slider? Never knew how to throw it. Changeup, it just lobs over the plate. Like, it doesn't help you to throw 95, because now, Nick, as a big league hitter, if you're facing a pitcher that has one pitch, what are you going to do?
I'm going to sit on that one pitch.
And that's it. And you can't be deceptive. As a pitcher.
You know what I'm going to be? I'm going to be the Houston Astros. I'm going to know everything is coming.
Don't dog on my
one pitch.
Look, he's got the Astro in the back. No, but seriously, dude, like, that's the thing. Like, pitching is not about, like, it's a misconception. There's a lot of hype, like, with anything, fads, what's popular, what's going on. Velocity got popular. Now all of a sudden everybody wants to throw hard, but where are the guys like, dude, Greg Maddux was legit. And I mean, he threw 96, 97, but then he figured out I don't have to throw 96, 97 when I can throw 90 and just dot up every time and get all these guys out. So that's more important than velocity. Yes, velocity is important because just like we talked about with size, it's going to get you noticed, right? If you don't have the size, but you can throw 93, 95, well, someone's going to say, okay, I see 93, 95. Where is this kid at? Let me go watch him play. But then in the same sentence, if you're not the big guy, but you throw 93, 95 and you don't have the size, you better be able to throw a curveball for a strike. You better be able to throw a changeup for a strike, because we had a mastermind a couple weeks ago with a couple college D1 coaches, and they said they would much rather take the kid that is undersized, that doesn't have the velocity, that knows how to pitch, knows how to play, and knows how to be a good teammate. Right. So those are the things that we got to focus on. Don't follow the hype. Yeah. Look and see what's going on, what's trending, but then step back. Just like we talked about with Tristan, step back, think about yourself and what's going to work for you, analyze what you've been doing. So step back and gather that information and see, is doing these running guns, is trying to, get up to 100 miles an hour. Is it worth it for me as a player? Or should I maybe do less of that and focus on figuring out how to throw a curveball for a strike or that changeup for the strike?
Yeah. Repeating body motion is huge. That's the deception of pitching, because you're about to walk onto the campus of Baylor, and
all those 93
to 95 with a metal bat is going to go a long way, my friend.
Yeah, it is.
So if you can pump it up there, but you have to change your your motion and your body movement to get your off speed to work, like college guys are going to pick up on that real fast, and it's going to be
Oh yeah.
it's going to be a quick day at the yard for you.
Well, I also think too, just branching off of you guys, and I was never a pitcher, but I faced a whole lot of them, so I have a pretty good understanding of what they're trying to do. I even look at somebody like a Garrett Cole, right? And now we have him over with us with the Yankees, right? But when Garrett Cole was with the Pittsburgh Pirates, he was good, but he wasn't a dominating Garrett Cole the way he was when he was with the Houston Astros. You know what happened when he went over to the Houston Astros? He sat down with the analytics department. He sat down with Justin Verlander, and he was throwing the wrong pitches in the wrong counts. That's also something to think about. That's also doing your scouting reports, understanding exactly who you are, what you can do, because at the end of the day, in a 2-1 count, most people might be sitting on an off-speed pitch, but maybe for you, you can sneak that fastball in there to gain a strike. So I think there's a lot of different things that you can learn how to manipulate the baseball. Maybe sinkers aren't your thing. Maybe all of a sudden you start throwing cutters, right? At the end of the day, because you can throw 100 miles an hour, it doesn't mean you need to throw 100 miles an hour. Because if you miss in the middle part of the plate anyways, baby, 100 miles an hour goes a long, long way. Big time.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, continue to keep learning, continue to keep asking questions, do your research, learn more about who you are. Because the only thing you're doing is bettering yourself, trying to learn each and every day. And I think in today's world, that's what we're learning. Continue to keep learning every day.
For sure. All right. Well, I got one last question. It's not really. It's just kind of like messing
I like this
around.
kid, man.
I love this, dog. I love
dude.
this.
You got your opportunity. Like, this is what you need to be thinking of when you're out on the baseball field.
Absolutely.
You got the opportunity. Take the chance. Ask the question. Keep going. Do it. I like it.
Talking to a pro man. Talking to two dudes who know a lot. I'm getting everything out. Well, I mean, this isn't really, but if I do get the opportunity, go play spring training, whatever. Where's your favorite golf course? Because I love to swing a little golf club, and I know y'all are talking about it earlier.
Yeah. Hey, bro, so I'm just going to let you know, man, Arizona golf is a lot different than Florida golf, baby, for sure. We got a lot of water out here in Florida. Arizona, bro, you can play those low burners, those low stingers, bro, and those things just roll for days. But I think, man, even over in Arizona, right, Troon, right, you got Greyhawk up there. I'm trying to think of all the great golf courses that are up there. Because, bro, spring training in Arizona is nice. You're home for dinner every night, right? The longest trip you take is maybe an hour and a half. That's about it. You come out here to Florida, baby. You go from Tampa to Fort Myers. That's a 4-hour trip. Then you're going to have to spend the night somewhere, and then you're going to come home. So I think there's just two totally different spring trainings, two totally different sides of the United States. And either one you get the opportunity to play in, baby, you should be blessed, man, because it's amazing, bro. Just to be able to have the opportunity to continue to keep playing, I think is a blessing for sure. I mean, it's almost like for you, you're going to see kids every year that are going to take off the jersey the last game of their senior year, and they're not going to play anymore. And that's not who we want to be. We never want to take the jersey off. We want to continue to keep putting jerseys on year after year after year.
That would be the plan. Yes, sir.
You got it, brother. You got it, man. Best of luck to you, Cody. Do your thing, homie. We'll be watching, okay?
Thank y'all very
All
much.
right,
All right, baby. Take it easy,
To be
bro.
on here. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, Cody. See you, buddy.
See y'all.
Bro, that's what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? Like, boy, we just chopped it up with that kid for like 20 minutes, bro.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
That's amazing,
Good,
man. I
man.
love
Dude,
it.
it's always a good caller here on Kicking It with your boy Swish. Today we tried an afternoon session, a little bit different, little connectivity issues. It don't matter because we're still an hour in, man. And we're
Well, yeah, because it's
talking,
like
we're
you
doing
said,
everything.
you know, Joe, you told me this yesterday, man. Like, you know, prospect dugout, we stand for a certain thing. It's not all about the views. It's not all about the likes. It's about getting the word out, right? And getting our brand out and doing the best we can to help people.
If our mission was to talk to Tristan and to talk to Cody today, and that's it, so be it. I mean, it's going to impact their lives.
Because guess what, bro? Like, we're all walking away with a smile on our face.
That's it.
Hopefully they walked away with a smile on their face, and hopefully the people watching at home learned something that maybe they
For sure.
never learned before. Because
Well, speaking of learning something, we just filmed a little bit yesterday. Why don't you give a little bit of insight
Yeah, man.
on what's
Hey.
coming up?
Craig, I'm telling you, bro, we missed you yesterday. But at the end of the day, bro, like, we're stoked. We finally got the ability to get together and do all of our driveway drills. I think we did 15 different infield drills the other day. You know, we had Lucas came up. I mean, who was up?
Mason,
Mason was
Logan,
up there.
Ryan.
Rhino was up there. Logan was up there.
How about them hairdos?
Oh yeah, bro, with the blonde.
That's what I saw
hair.
on Instagram. I was like,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
So we were able to literally, it was kind of cool because it didn't feel like we were really filming drills. It almost felt like we were doing a workout.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like it seemed like you were actually like, because we would film, we would start action, we'd time it in everything, and we do it, cut, that's it. But then you'd keep going. Like you'd be like, Logan, dude, like we got to get down. Like this is why we're doing this. This is why we're doing the footwork. So I think that's really cool because you're not just doing it like we're not just trying to create content to put out there. Like we're doing this for like this is what we talked about. Like we're trying to figure out these drills, you know, and like I was looking at all the content we did yesterday. It's all footwork stuff based on footwork around, you know, third base, second base, catching the ball, receiving it. So like we're putting together this plethora of content, this instructional content, driveway drills. It's Nick Swisher's mastermind idea. Like he's got this big vision in his head and we're putting it in place. So we're creating content that's going to give, you know, players, amateur players, you know, whether you're 8 years old, whether you're in high school, it doesn't matter. You're going to find something that Nick has learned over playing 12 years in Major League Baseball, of talking hitting with Mark Teixeira, of talking slumps with Derek Jeter, of, you know, talking home runs with A-Rod. Like these are the kind of things, you know, that you need to learn. And so this is why we're putting this together. So what do you think? What was your favorite drill that we did yesterday?
I don't know. I think just my ability, the fact that I was able to coach and the fact that I was able to teach was what I want to do, right? At the end of the day, I mean, you guys know, one of these days I'm going to be a major league manager. I know that. One of these days it's going to happen. I'm not quite sure how soon I want to do it because I got little girls and I love being a daddy. But still, at the end of the day, man, the love for baseball is too big. It's too much in my chest not to be able to try and help. And I think the coolest part about doing all those driveway drills, yes, I agree. I think the videos are going to be amazing and they're going to be up tempo and they're going to be high energy. And I love all that stuff because for driveway drills, everything's short. It's not a lot of running. It's inside. It's being able to, you know, work within a small area. But for myself, I was able to help those kids, bro. And I was able to literally just make their day better. Yeah, it's like when we get the ability to do Zooms and we talk to different teams. And for myself, I love that stuff because all I want to do is walk away from talking to somebody, leaving them with a smile on their face. Yeah. Letting them know that there are rays of sunshine out there, bro. Like not everything's great right now in the world, but we can stand up and we can be those rays of sunshine. Yeah. Whether it's in a leadership role or a mentorship role or a teaching role, whatever it is, man, you can do that. And I think for us, I think we have that right idea. And just to be able to have the ability to put a thought out for people to see, I'm so excited because I think nowadays there's a lot of information out there. And in my mind, it might not all be the best information. So hopefully Prospect Dugout can be that destination that you can come to get your information on anything you want to know about, baseball related, life related, pitching related, whatever it is. We want to be the platform that you can come to learn. So not only being able to promote yourself is something for us at this moment in time, I think we're in the ability and we're in that mode of teaching and being able to help people and to be able to help get them to the next level, because it's not just going to be on you getting to that next level. It's going to be on you and the village you create around yourself.
Yeah.
So
and if
part of your village.
If you think about it, like you want to get exposure, but if you're getting exposure and you're not up to par, like that's not the time to get exposure. So like, I think us being able to provide this, like I was thinking about it, like we started with the Ron Washington drill. That's the first drill that we did. And then it turned out the next drill was a progression of that. And then the next, we didn't even plan it that way. It just happened that way. So it was like, we're going through and then you're looking back and you're thinking, these drills seem so tedious. And because they seem tedious, people don't do them. Yeah. They neglect them. And so all these little things are going to create that foundation to where we were talking, you know, a little bit earlier with Cody, with Tristan, just talking about figuring out what makes you, when you feel good, when you feel like you're playing at 100% capacity, what were the things that you did that led up to that? Okay. Right. If you don't have a foundation of your footwork, like we're working on double play turns from second to short. If we don't know how to drop, step and turn and get our shoulder down low and keep the ball low, you're not going to be able to make that play. And if you go to a showcase and you get that ball and you can't do it, then why are you even at that showcase? Like this is what you need to be doing, is learning this foundational, fundamental,
I think that you hit it right there on the head, bro. It's the fundamentals. It's the fundamentals of the game that sometimes get clouded. And at the end of the day, you have to have the fundamentals. Have the fundamentals, be so solid in the fundamentals. And then guess what? and then we're swaggy. And then we make the tough plays. But we will make the routine play every single time. Because nowadays, especially on the infield side, bro, people aren't even talking about hitting the ball on the ground anymore. Back when I was growing up, it was talking about hit the ball on the ground, hit it hard on the ground. That was your best chance of getting a hit. Nowadays, boys are like, forget that, bro. Let's launch this stuff. So if nobody's hitting ground balls anymore and people do hit ground balls, guess what, bro? We got to catch them. So I think for myself,
Absolutely.
even talking to my little nephew, he's 12 years old. It's like when I tell him, hey, catch this ground ball, that sounds like a very daunting thing. That sounds like a humongous task. But with all those little drills that we did, it's all a progression to get yourself ready to go out there and make the routine plays. And then from there, continue to keep working, and then all those great plays come off of all that.
That's it. Well, today was a different episode. It was a new time. Got some different viewers watching us. I liked it. We had, Cody.
I loved it. Also, too, man, for everyone out there and for everyone that's watching, with all of our young prospect dugout kids out there that have the ability to get drafted tomorrow, baby. Good luck, man. I know it's a crazy draft this year, but I can remember for me, man, that was a life-altering phone call I got. So for all you kids out there that have the ability to get drafted, man, I wish you the best of luck. But also, too, like we talked about before, if it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the road, right? We can use that to either help us gain ground and moving towards our next goal, or maybe we just got to go to college for a couple years. That's okay, because we'll find a way to continue to keep grinding. We'll find a way to continue to keep working, because that's what we're going to do, man. We're never going to give up, and we're always going to shoot for our goals.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Well, for Craig Maddox and Nick Swisher, I'm Joel Hartman. I just want to thank you guys so much for joining us on today's episode of Kicking It with your boy Swish.
Yes, sir.
If you could share this video, if you're watching right now, just so someone can go back and watch it from the beginning, that'd be great. If this impacted your life, if you got a nugget out of this and you really liked it, drop a comment below on YouTube, Facebook, so that way we know, so we can see what.
Yeah, so we can talk about the things that people want to hear about, because at the end of the day, that's what we want to try and do. We want to help. And if we don't have the questions or the information, then, we can at least try and narrow ourselves into a certain way.
That's it. Well, for Craig Maddox and Nick Swisher, I'm Joel Hartman. Thank you guys for joining us.